This week on Uncut Gems with Slim.
It's like there's a part of every season in your life that includes a period of waiting. And sometimes when you waiting, it feel like it's moving so slow. When you're waiting, it's imperative to shift your focus from what you're waiting on to what you could do right now. Hey y'all, welcome back for another episode of Uncut Gems with Slim. I'm your host, Jasmine, better known as Slim Rashay, and I hope y'all have been doing well. February, love is in the air, honey, but who else restarted their year on February 1st? I know I can't be the only one. I feel like January is just like a month where it's like, yeah, it's New Year, but babe, relax. And with everything that's been going on in the world, I know a nice little reset is much needed for this month. And so, speaking of January and just all the things that have been going on, for me personally, it's actually been a really slow season for me. So I talk about, going into my second year of being a full-time entrepreneur and things like that. And on the outside, it looks glitz, it looks glam, it looks absolutely amazing. But y'all, when it is a slow season, like, that means it's slow. Like, ain't no money coming in besides, like, your consistent things. So a lot of people always wonder, like, okay, well, how do you make your money? How do you make your money? And nobody want to talk about money. And I'm gonna break down to y'all like a few specific things or main forms of income that influencers and entrepreneurs have. And one of that is like affiliate income. So anytime I share an affiliate link and you purchase something from a link that I shared with you, I get a small commission off of that. Now, that does not mean like if you buy something that I'm making bands. I have to have like multiple people buying an abundance of things that I'm sharing to really make good money when it comes to affiliate marketing, because typically it's gonna be, on average from 4 to maybe 12-15% of what is actually purchased. So basically them is like little coins, right? And then another form of income that you have is like royalties. So if you're a music artist or if you're on YouTube when ads run and things like that, you can make money off of those ads running on your videos. Or I'm not 100% sure how music royalties work, but you get paid when people continuously stream your music, similar to how you get paid for like YouTube. And that's like another form of income that you have. But the bread and butter, in my opinion, is brand deals. So brand deals are typically like a collaboration between a creator, an influencer, and a brand. And it's normally a one-off collaboration, kind of like an independent contractor, right? So you hire me to do one job and I get paid for that one job, and that's it. Or you'll have potential things where it's like a long-term partnership where I may work with someone for 6 months or I may work with someone for a year, which means I'll have consistent flow of money for the duration of that contract, basically. And so I say all this to say, when I say nothing was coming in January, not much was coming in, okay? And on top of all of that, most of these things are invoice based. So invoice could be net 30, net 60, and if you fool around with some folks, you could even be on the hook for net 90, which means you don't get paid until 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days after the invoice is submitted. So even if I did have brand deals flowing in January, I still wouldn't have gotten paid for those until this month, next month, or the one after that. You get what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, this year has been a really, really, really slow start for me. And so I thought about sharing this with you guys because a lot of times we experience slow seasons in life. And oftentimes during those slow seasons, it's easy to get frustrated. Like for me, I'm like getting frustrated, like I need to apply for a job or do something because baby, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Bills got to be paid, okay? And so I'm just like allowing doubt to creep in and just like start to get frustrated. Like, did I really make the right decision? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? All of those different kind of things, and those kind of doubtful mindsets and wanting to quit can slowly creep in seasons where things aren't going as smooth or things are slower than they normally are. So one verse I found that can help keep you grounded in seasons like this is Proverbs 18:16, which says, "A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great." And so this kind of reminds me that my unique gift will open doors, right? But I have to remain steadfast, consistent, in a constant state of preparation, and also continuing to build relationships in seasons like this. So once the doors do open for me, I'm able to walk through and sustain in the new season. That in itself kind of sets you up for long-term success. So for me, what that looks like in my career and my niche is building relationships with brands. And I'm gonna try to touch on like the creator standpoint, but also like the corporate America standpoint. And so one thing that I learned when it comes to approaching different brand relationships is that it's not always about the numbers. One thing that I've come to learn over the years is that it's not just a transactional situation. Like, you are literally joining in partnership with somebody, with a brand. If you're in corporate America, you're joining in partnership with the corporate vision of the company. You have to have a partnership mindset. You can't simply think about it as a transactional matter. And that's one way that you build a long-lasting relationship, a long-lasting career, is through collaboration and coming in partnership with a company, with a brand, with their vision. And one thing that's so underrated is actually engaging with people. I know, like, probably my generation, millennials, Gen Z, all of that, like, we are not the most, let me hop on the phone with you. Let me talk to you face to face. Like, we are part of the digital age. So it's normal for us to connect digitally, like send a text, send a DM versus like actual human interaction. And I feel like engaging with people is a underrated thing that can help push your business relationships further. I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna speak for me. When I was going and clocking into my 9 to 5, like, I literally go to work to do work and I go home. I'm not going to work to make no friends. Like, I very much like to keep my personal life and my work life separate. Like, I'm not trying to dibble and dab, mix and mingle. On the flip side of that, when you do connect with people from your job, you're able to build rapport. And building rapport is helpful because it can get you so much further in your job, in your career, in the tasks that you're doing. Like, it gets you so much further when you actually have a relationship with someone and you build rapport with someone than just simply having a transactional relationship. And for me, as a content creator, engaging looks a little bit different. It may be engaging with your audience, responding to comments, but when it comes to brands, one way that you can engage with them is through literally commenting on their Instagram, DMing them, tagging them in relevant content. Like, all those things help you build a rapport. If they're used to seeing your name in their comments, they're gonna be like, oh, like, they're gonna think of you. I know for me, when I see someone's name consistently in my comments, in my likes and things like that, in my DMs, I have a rapport, even if they don't know it yet. Like, I have a cognizance of their presence on my channel. So I can only imagine from the brand's perspective, like, if I am looking to hire a content creator for a campaign and I see a name that I always see in the comments, that I always see in the DMs, that I always see in the likes, then I already know that this creator probably has some rapport with my products. And so I can potentially work with them, and I would be interested in working with someone who already has a love for our products. So a way that you can build relationships with those brands, like I said, get in them DMs. Now, don't harass nobody. And I'm not gonna lie, I will do 2, 3, 4, 5 follow-ups before I just say all hope is lost. But Follow up with people, send them an email. Emails are so important, okay? You want to email them people if you can. Now, I don't condone sharing information on the internet because it be a little confidentiality clause at the bottom of them emails and people just be screenshotting them and sharing them. I am not telling you to do that, but if you have a brand, say you reach out to them via DM and ask them, hey, do you have a contact information for whoever's over your social media? I would love to connect with them. Like, that's an easy and simple way to engage with a brand, and it's kind of like cold calling. Like, they might respond, they might not, but if they do respond, then you'll have an email, and then you can reach out to them and, pitch yourself. But when you're doing this, something to be cognizant about is your communication style. Now, like I said, the millennials, Gen Z, like, we're used to a little kiki, when we're on the internet. We know how to turn off the professional switch. But you have to be mindful that you are trying to build a professional relationship when you're contacting these people. Now, if you're not an influencer, this may look like you contacting people on LinkedIn when you're job searching and things like that. Your communication style is important when you're connecting with these people. So yeah, I might DM a brand and I might use emojis or kind of talk a little bit more friendly, but when it gets to the emails, we professional. Hello to whom it may concern. Thank you. Warmest regards. Like, you want to make sure that you're coming correct, because at the end of the day, these ain't your homegirls and homeboys. These is people cutting your check, and it's business. And I think being professional and being clear is a way to maintain like a positive business relationship. And you want to also make sure that you're not someone who just has the numbers. You want to offer value to the company. Brands care about authenticity, how well you can tell your story, and your audience's trust. How much does your audience trust you? Are they wanting to run and buy everything you recommend? Those are things that are also important, which I have to remind myself sometimes because I don't have crazy numbers by any means. But I do know I'm great at creativity, storytelling, and I do believe my audience trusts me in what I suggest to them when it comes to natural hair, makeup, outfits, the whole nine. Like, I definitely think I have all of those things check marked. So even if you don't have the numbers, and I'm speaking to someone who may be new in their journey, or they're starting their business as an entrepreneur, like, you have to make sure that you offer some sort of value. If you're trying to get a grant or something like that, what is your value? Don't show me the numbers, show me your value. And another thing is to make sure you're not getting too personal. So, like, I mentioned cold calling earlier, and I got that phrase from when I be watching these reality shows. They basically be cold calling people to see if they ready to sell their house. Cold calling for me is like reaching out to brands via DMs or via emails. You may or may not get a hit, but when you do, then you can kind of start rolling out your pitch and things like that to see if you could build a relationship with them and eventually work with them. And so during slow seasons like this, I'm always reminded to reach out to people that you've worked with before. They're probably more likely to consider you for future opportunities. All you have to do is like put yourself back to the forefront. Like, if they haven't worked with you in a few years or they haven't worked with you in a few months, it's like that friend that y'all don't speak all the time, but if they just pop up in your phone, you be like, oh, that's my girl. Like, I wonder how she doing. Like, that's the purpose of following up with people that you previously have worked with. If they enjoyed the experience with you, 9 times out of 10, just you popping back up at the top of their inbox is something that could open you up to having another opportunity to working with them. Another thing that I have to suggest, which is more so for my content creators, entrepreneurs, influencers, like, sometimes, now I'm a stand on the hill that the price is the price, but there are certain scenarios and situations where you may have to be flexible, and that's okay, because you can have, like I said, you'll have these one-off brand deals where it's like, we're going to do one video for one price. But then you may have an opportunity where it's like, okay, well, we could do 12 videos for a year for this big price, even though it's a little bit less than how much you would charge if you was just doing one-off. at the end of the day, you're making 12 times the money basically. So like sometimes you have to be flexible when it comes to rates, to terms and conditions, if you want to build a certain rapport with brands. Like I've done that before. If it's a brand that I really want to work with, even if I know they probably bluffing and they have the budget and things like that, sometimes I will be flexible because I'm trying to build a relationship with you. Like I want us to go together real bad, you know what I'm saying? And again, like I said, everything does not have to be transactional. You're gonna grow further through building relationships and collaborating with people. Now, when we're talking about slow seasons, like I said, January been dragging her pretty little feet for me. Like dragging. And I'm like, Black History Month coming up, like ain't nobody trying to work, like what's going on? And when I thought about waiting, it's like you wait 9 months to have a baby, you wait like 18 years to graduate, and you wait during your singleness before you get married. It's like there's a part of every season in your life that includes a period of waiting. And sometimes when you waiting, it feel like it's moving so slow. But the thing is, when you're waiting, it's imperative to shift your focus from what you're waiting on to what you could do right now. You want to maximize the moment, whether you waiting in the drive-thru for your lemon pepper tenders from Zaxby's, or if you're waiting in your singleness, you want to maximize those opportunities. It's the perfect time where you can improve your craft and grow where you're at. Now, another thing that's beautiful about the wait is that you can grow when no one's watching. Growth doesn't always feel good. You go to the gym, you working out, you growing muscles, it hurts. It stretches. When you grow muscle in the gym, there's a ripping of the muscles in order for it to replenish itself and make itself bigger. Like growth can hurt. Growth can sometimes be slow. You've been in the gym for months. Your tum-tum still look the same. Growth while no one's watching. Growth while no one can see it. Your muscles are developing and growing up under, and you might not can see it, but you're growing. And those seasons are very, very important because not only, now we talking gym. In the gym, you build discipline, you build consistency while you're working out. You can potentially feel it on the inside of you, the changes. Even if the number on the scale isn't changing, the recomposition, you start to see it. The growth comes over time. Everybody's not gonna see, if you one of them ones who get up early, like they ain't gonna see you in the gym that early, but the growth is still happening. And it made me think about, like, you ever been waiting on some water to boil? Like, you ain't got no food at the house, you hungry, and all you got is a cup of noodles, a pack of noodles, and you just put the water on the stove and you waiting for it to boil, and it seems like it takes forever for that water to boil if you sitting there watching it. Now, on the flip side, if you put that pot on the stove, turn that water on, and go on about your business, and then come back down and check on it, child, that water be boiling so quick, and you'll be like, dang, like, time flew by, right? That's the same approach I want to encourage you to take while you're waiting. Enjoy and maximize the wait. And like I said, when it comes to my entrepreneurs, slow seasons mean no money, okay? And it's hard to maximize the wait for your next client, the wait for the next paycheck to come in. Even if you're in corporate and if you live in check to check, sometimes it's hard to maximize the wait. But one thing that will always help is to try and diversify your income. What does that look like? When you build multiple streams of income, that helps you to have a little wiggle room, a little bounce back, and so you're not relying solely on one source of revenue. Now, when it comes to corporate America, that may look like you diversifying your resume. So instead of just, going to work, going home, going to work, going home, you may want to look into getting a certification or taking an additional class to refine your skills and build up that resume so you can prepare yourself for the next step of your career or the next job that you're interested in. Like, you can do different things that will help build you up for success while you're waiting on that breakthrough, while you're waiting on that door to open. Last thing I want to talk about is to remain aware of your why. In slow seasons, it can be easy to lose sight of the goal, the vision that you're going for. What's the deeper purpose behind what you do? I feel like this topic always helps me recenter my focus and remember like why I'm doing what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, you gotta trust that the Lord is gonna bring the right opportunities at the right time. Rejection may come, it's gonna come. Failures may happen, but all that means is you're going to be redirected onto a path that you need to take in order to grow in the direction that God is calling you to. So it's helpful for you to keep your vision clear. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. By doing this, you don't lose sight of the goal. I talk about it all the time. Make sure you surround yourself with supportive community that speaks life into that goal. The community you keep seriously plays a huge role in how you progress in life. Most importantly, stay prayerful. I'm preaching to the choir. I'm preaching to the choir because it's easy to allow prayer to become a mundane thing and just part of routine, but stay prayerful of the vision and the goal that God has given you, because sometimes God will shift the way that things are happening in unexpected ways because faith requires your participation. You have to keep showing up because God is always working. He is always looking out for you, even when it doesn't look or feel like it. And that may be hard, but you just have to trust and you have to keep showing up. So I hope this episode brought you a little bit of encouragement. If you're going through a slow season like me, don't become weary in well doing. Like, stay the course. If you one of my Love Island UK girlies, get grafted. Put on your boots and get grafting, okay? Because your time is coming, so enjoy the wait. I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode, and make sure you follow us on Instagram at Uncut Gems with Slim. And until next week.
Uncut gems, uncut gems, Slim.